April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. Going to make it wealthy.
President Trump rolling out his long-awaited tariffs against, well, just about everyone. He says this will be an entirely different country in a short period of time. He's right about that. The country will be different, but different in a good way or perhaps something else. Time will tell whether Trump's vision will play out as he thinks, but it's accurate to note that the list of economists, business executives, and investors who are apprehensive is not short. They think tariffs will lead to all kinds of problems like higher inflation, job losses, and a slowing economy. What is also not short here are Trump's targets, countries north, south, east, and west, big and small, friend and foe alike. The countries in tariffs are all over the map here, but all these countries, he claims, have one thing in common. They are, he insists, all ripping us off. Also all over the map is rationale for even doing this. During his first White House campaign a decade ago, Trump told Bob Woodward of the Washington Post that his trade policies would not only wipe out our trade deficit, but wipe out, get this, the entire national debt itself. How'd that work out? Well, during his first term between fiscal year 2017 and fiscal year 2021, the national debt exploded more than $8 trillion. Oops. Now Trump has changed his tune a little bit, saying that in addition to his claim that the world is ripping us off on trade, he claims tariffs are also needed because some countries are allowing drugs and illegal immigrants to come into our country. He's referring to China, Canada, and Mexico here. In other words, Americans tragically keep overdosing on fentanyl, but rather than focus on the demand side of that, and Trump, by the way, is actually proposing big budget cuts for drug treatment and prevention, Trump prefers to blame the suppliers, again, China for the fentanyl and Canada and Mexico for allowing it to come over their borders, he claims. So he blames these suppliers and says that tariffs are the punishment. So in other words, the price of cars, flat screen TVs, avocados, and a zillion other things will have to go up for all Americans until these countries do something about drugs. Now, if you'll allow me a bit more latitude here, I also think there's some disinformation at play here in terms of what's giving Trump the presumption that he even needs to do this in the first place. Now, he ran a great campaign. It was targeted, efficient, and generally disciplined, but it was predicated, frankly, on the broad and incorrect theme that the U.S. economy was a mess. He claimed everything was horrible. He claimed everything was all going to hell and that only he could fix it. Going to hell, everyone from the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, and Economist all described that very same economy in glowing terms. Here's a typical headline. This one is from The Economist. It said, "The U.S. economy is the envy of the world." That was a typical headline. These articles all cited record jobs, low unemployment, 2.6% inflation on Election Day, a record stock market, and the U.S., by the way, on Joe Biden's watch, became the #1 oil and gas producer. And inflation had receded from a Trump-Biden pandemic high of 9.1% to a more normal 2.6% by Election Day. Avian flu and egg prices notwithstanding, I'm pretty sure this is not what hell looks like. But truthful or not, he got 49% of the vote, enough to win, and here we are. So, What happens now? Well, knowing as we do how Trump operates, these tariffs, which we are told have immediately gone into effect, may be about as consistent as a bowl of watery mush. The president is known for changing his mind on a whim, and you can be sure that the door to the Oval Office will be open. And this is what he loves, by the way, a parade of lobbyists and other grovelers looking for some sort of carve out for their particular industry. I know this because I've seen this rodeo before. After unveiling big tariffs back in 2018, remember that? Trump caved within days. Reuters, the news agency, said, and I'm quoting, Trump's mind was changed by a furious last-ditch lobbying campaign from the Canadian government, Republican lawmakers, business groups, and the United Steelworkers, the very union whose members stand to benefit most from the tariffs. All I can say is, let the groveling begin.